For each writer, the process of writing a second draft will be different. Some like to wait a few weeks, and others have no trouble diving right back in after finishing the first draft. But I'm stuck. For me, with these two, it was actually quite simple. Especially with this one, I finished the first draft and nearly immediately I just jumped back in because I knew that the story I was telling was right. I've talked about this before, but there is one chapter, I keep forgetting, I think it's chapter 11, that wasn't in draft 1. I just went from 10 to 12 basically. But because I rewrote it, because I knew where I wanted the story to go, I saw an opportunity in my draft 2 to add that chapter because it just made a lot of sense. So with this one, it was no struggle at all. I just didn't care. I just kept writing and it worked out, I guess. With this one, pretty much the same thing. I think I took a little time off, maybe like a week or so, possibly 2. Who knows? And then I just continued writing. I went over what I wrote and I tried to find inconsistencies and see if there were moments that just didn't make sense, just didn't fit the story, didn't fit the characters, that kind of stuff. Usually what I would be doing in a third draft rather than a second draft, because with this one as well, it just made sense. The story was right. It was good. So with these two, there was no struggle. It was all good. However, the third book I'm working on right now, I still cannot give you a title. I'm sorry, it's still being worked on. With it, I finished the first draft a little while ago, and I tried to continue with the second draft right away as I had done with the other books, except I couldn't. I just couldn't. I didn't know how to approach it. So I went on Google and I literally searched how to approach a second draft, thinking to myself, you have done it twice already. Why can't you do it again? It annoyed me so much that I could not figure that out. It annoyed me so much that I had done something twice already and I just couldn't do it again. It still kind of annoys me. But the more I looked into things, the more I read about it, and the more I thought about it, I realized that it was okay. This is normal. I looked at that story and I was stuck because I wasn't quite sure what to think of the story yet. It was so fresh in my mind that I had all these ideas, I had all these thoughts, but I was too attached to it. I couldn't murder my darlings, as they always say, because I didn't want to. I was too attached to them at that point. And I would still be attached to them later on, but much less. And then I was reading On Writing by Stephen King. I'm nearly finished. It is phenomenal. I will probably talk about this soon. And at some point I was like, man, I really wish he would talk about second drafts at some point. Guess what? The next day when I opened the book, the next chapter or section with Stephen King, don't know what else to call them. He just does weird things with the numbers in between chapters. One of the first things I read, how he approaches his second draft. You have no clue how happy I was. Basically what he wrote was he usually takes like 4 to 6 weeks away from a first draft. Then he reads the entire thing and then he makes comments, he writes down things he wants to change or inconsistencies, all those good things. And then he goes again. He doesn't rewrite the entire thing. One thing that I was terrified of. I didn't want to have to rewrite the entire thing. Why write it a first time when you have to rewrite it again anyway? I didn't like that idea, and I'm glad. So just give it a rest, come back to it 4 to 6 weeks later, and fix it. That is what I'm going to be doing. It's been a little over a week, I think, since I read that, and I said at that point, okay, 4 more weeks. And then I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna ignore all the parts of myself that think about the story that are like, hey, I want to change this, I like this, I should add this, I should remove this. Ignore all that and leave that for future me. To first read, process the story, and then try to find ways to make it better. That's, in my eyes, a great way to approach things. So yeah, I am struggling with my second draft for my third novel, and that is okay. That's okay. I'm convincing myself. I do want to talk at some point though in more detail about writing a first draft and a second draft, but what I do think you should take away from this, if anything, is that it doesn't matter. What I tell you, or what Stephen King tells you for that matter, doesn't matter. It's all just how we deal with things. Every writer does things their own way. And I'm not comparing myself to Stephen King with skill or anything, obviously. I'm just talking about how he handles things and how I choose to handle things are different. I'm trying his way now with my way combined, and it's going to work somehow, and I'll find my way. And so will you, if that's something you're thinking about. Don't take things too seriously. Take it all with a grain of salt. Try out things, learn new things, and write that second draft. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, watch some of my other videos, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!